Hey, this is Joe. I got another question here. This is from Dave Deert from Indianapolis. Dave says, I don't seem to be getting enough replies to the Craigslist texts on the Automarketer to keep my virtual assistant busy making calls. How do I get more replies? The Automarketer is set up so that you can scale it. So if you're working in a specific city and you're getting a certain number of leads, and you're going to get only a certain number of leads based on the number of people that are posting their property for sale by owner on Craigslist, and because the system is going to go in there, it's going to find those leads, and that's going to grab those phone numbers, and it's going to send a text out to them. It's going to ask them if they're interested in selling their home rent to buy, and if they are, they're going to respond. And those people are ones you're going to want to call back. And if you're using somebody who's a telemarketer to do this, you might want to call the no's and the yeses. Even the no's, they've responded, so you know they're real, and you can text them and get on the phone with them and say, I got your email back, and I was just wondering why you weren't interested in doing a lease option, and you can start the conversation from there, especially if you're just learning how to do this, or if you're using telemarketers to do it for you. So that's the first thing that I would do, because 8 or 9 out of 10 of the responses you get from the Automarketer are going to be no, and the other 20% or so are going to be yeses or maybes, or give me $10,000 and I'll do it. And those are people that are going to be the most likely to do it. But sometimes it makes sense to have these other people called as well, especially if you're not having to do the work. I don't like to make cold calls or call people that aren't serious about it. But that's because I can close deals. If you're not at the point where you can close deals yet, or you have a telemarketer, if you have a telemarketer doing it, they can probably get you more deals. And when you're using a telemarketer, by the way, you're going to do it in a 2-step system. You're going to have them fill out the questionnaire in the Sella Questionnaire in the Automarketer that asks all the details about their property, so that you can go in and look at it, and you can figure out what type of deal is going to make the most sense for these people. And then you can get on the phone and say, I can offer this, this, and this. Which one makes the most sense to you? Here are your options. Here's what you can accomplish. And then they can make a decision on which way makes the most sense to you. And you can do that with only the low-hanging fruit, only the people that are the most likely to do this. And the other thing about using a telemarketer, and don't do this until you get good at it on the phone. If you're doing this before you get good at it, you won't close these deals, and you're going to spend a lot of money on telemarketers that won't pay off. But if you're already good on the phone and you got a telemarketer and you're teaching the telemarketer and they're asking the questions, and then you go in and you make these calls, the telemarketer, before they got off the phone, they're going to say to this person, I'm going to have my boss give you a call. He's going to make you 2 offers, or she is going to make you 2 offers. One is a cash offer, and the other one's one that's on lease option or some other type of terms. Is that okay? And most of these people are going to want the cash offer, and they're going to say yes, that's okay. And by the way, he's a good guy. He's not going to twist your arm if you don't want to do it. It's okay. He's not going to be upset with you. He's not going to push you too hard. He's just going to give you your options, and then you can say yes or no. Is that okay? And by the way, he's a pretty good guy. And basically what we're doing is having our own telemarketer give us a third-party endorsement saying that, saying that, hey, this guy's okay, you can trust him. And when we call, the conversation is a lot easier because they trust us, and we can cut to the chase pretty quickly because they already know that we're serious and that we are actually in business, and we're not just some scam artist. We actually have somebody working with us. So there are some advantages to doing it with a telemarketer that make sense. Okay, so expanding the area, though, that was Dave's question. If you want to expand the area, all you have to do is go into a larger area or into a different city, and you can go into multiple cities using the Automarketer, and you can get more leads doing that. And ideally, eventually, you're going to be able to expand into as many cities as you want. I would stay in one city at a time. Make sure your people can actually follow up on the leads you've got, because you have to pay for those leads. So make sure that you're using them properly. Too many people, they'll have, I got 150 leads, over the last couple of weeks, and I'll say to them, well, how many of them did you call? Well, I haven't called any of them yet. Because they get overwhelmed by having so many leads, and they don't know what to do, and they're not any good on the phone yet, and they're intimidated by the whole process, and they feel like an idiot when they get on the phone because they don't know what they're talking about yet. So learn how to talk to these people. Use the techniques that I've been teaching in this series and in previous series and on the Automarketer and in my mentor program. One of the things that we do in my mentor program is I have these 2-day buying events, and we all get into our room and we do a bunch of role playing, and I teach how to talk, and we actually have I actually have my students call real leads, live leads from the conference room and try to put deals together while they're there. And we talk about what they said and how it worked. And almost every time that we do this, they get off the phone after they've talked to half a dozen people or so, and they say, wow, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I mean, I sounded like an idiot, but I wasn't as intimidated. People were nicer than I thought they were going to be, and yeah, they, I didn't put a deal together yet, but I can see how that's going to work. I can see how it's going to come together, and then they start happening. It starts working, and they start doing it consistently. And when you have somebody making calls for you like this, and you start putting these deals together, you're going to be putting together with every 1, 2, 3 deals you're talking to when you have this kind of process going. So the Automarketer can revolutionize your business, bring you in so many leads that you won't be able to keep up with them, or your telemarketers will keep up with them if you do it the way that I'm suggesting here. All right. Thanks, Dave. Good luck, by the way.